Hi, this is Elizabeth, one of the co-hosts of Beauties and Headcanons. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Your Life Matters podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Mariah White, and I am a passionate pediatric nurse practitioner and fired up health and happiness coach, here to deliver a message to you. This podcast is meant to provide a hope and a dream that fuels your soul to dream big and to dream bold and to inspire and empower you to live out your wildest freaking dreams and to grab a hold onto the unwavering truth that you were made for more.
What's up, guys? Happy Tuesday. I'm so excited that you're here, so grateful and so humbled. I am just going to dive right into this work and this content that I've been working on so diligently. You know, in the beginning of the year, we talked about having a 2020 vision. We talked about how to cultivate that, how to reflect on that, and how to propel yourself forward. But what we need to tackle now is facing not just the climb, like we talked last week, but also facing the hard work, the effort, the resiliency, the relentlessness it takes to continue to push on to a big vision. A lot of times, hear me, a lot of times as leaders, as entrepreneurs, as people in well-renowned facilities and people with titles that have a lot of weight bearing on them, there's a lot of times where we just get lost in translation, right? Where we're not always focused on what we need to do. And a lot of times due diligence overlaps passion, and passion gets dropped at the wayside, and we just are doing and going through the motions because we're either pleasing other people, doing what other people want us to do, or acting out of responsibility. And a lot of times our dreams aren't directly correlated to our responsibility, right? Because a lot of times before we act on our passion, before we act on our purpose, we think of all the things, the laundry list of things that we're responsible for, whether it's another human, another person, whether it's for our bills, a house, in order to be successful, or what other people are going to think of us. Our responsibility is tied to so many other things, right? So we worry about what our dream really looks like, or our big vision really looks like, based on all of those other things. But I'm going to ask you this simple question. If you had no bills, no responsibility, no action in terms of what other people needed you to do, and if you weren't caring a single ounce about the judgment of other people or what people thought of you, would you be doing what you're doing? How would you live your life? How would you live your day in, day out focused passion and love in this life if you had no care, no responsibility, and no worries about other things or other people? That's what you should be doing. Now, this is a full disclaimer. This is not me telling you to leave your job and not to be financially smart and to just walk out the door of your job because you hate it, or not care about what other people think, or be callous. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is move towards, help the pendulum to swing towards what your goal and your purpose and your big dream is. A lot of times people will sit there and say, well, Mariah, I am fearful to do X, Y, and Z because of X, Y, and Z. So for me, example number A, I'm fearful to leave my job because I'm the health insurance carrier, or I need to make sure that I carry the roof over my head, or I need to make sure there's food on the table. Yes, you do. You really, really do. But is it at the expense of your dreams? Because let me ask you a question. Are the people within your circle, whether that's your kids, your friends, your family, your loved ones, are they happy with you being so unhappy and so miserable, not going after your dreams and just holding responsibility? Because if you look and you ask yourself that question, those people just want you happy, and you are doing more harm than good if you are so miserable and so unhappy in this life, going through the motions just because of responsibility. And there's a whole lot of resentment attached to that, right? There's a whole lot of things that can be attached to you not going after your big dream. So I sit there and a lot of times I think about Bianca. There was a big scary thing that was going on in my life. And today I'm going to talk about it. Work was completely hard. I don't even have a word to describe hard. It was bullying. It was toxic. It was so crippling to the point where I multiple times had panic attacks at work. I would have to breathe and meditate on my pumping breaks and my lunch breaks, or I would have to pump myself up in order to walk out of a room. I felt fine in the room with my patients. It was outside of that crippled me. And then finally something broke, right? I had been thinking about leaving for months. It was probably since I had Bianca, like it just turned really chaotic and really toxic, and I just was like, I have to go. And then I kept saying, no, it's going to get better. And I kept saying and convincing myself, it's going to get better, it's going to get better. And then it was, I have to do this because I'm a single mom. I have to do this because I have to take care of her. I have to do this because, and it was like this overwhelming pressure. And all I could think about was, I'm more miserable trying to keep my responsibilities and keep the roof over my head for my daughter, that my daughter isn't even enjoying being around me because I'm not enjoying being around me. So one Friday afternoon, I wrote my letter of resignation, and from that moment, has there been panic and chaos? Obviously. I'm a mom, and I'm a single mom, and I have bills that I need to pay, and I acted out of passion, but I knew that I couldn't live my life like that anymore. I knew that my patients deserved better than what they were receiving. I knew that I deserved to be the best clinician possible and that I was doing the right thing. I couldn't stand by anymore and say, I am okay with people treating other people like this. And I stood up on my own 2 feet and I said, no more. My daughter deserves a healthy, happy Mariah. My daughter deserves me to look at the big vision, not resent what's going on because I just have to keep the roof over our head and keep the health insurance going. Because at the end of the day, I wasn't a good person. I wasn't a happy person. And for months, I was going back and forth and trying to figure out what I needed to do. And then I stopped and I said, what would I be doing if money, bills, obligation was not a problem? I would mentor. I would mentor like crazy because mentoring women to stand up for what's right and to be their best self is my jam. So I sat there and I said, let's do this. I love running a successful business with health and happiness coaching. And then I sat there and I said, I want to help nurses, nurse practitioners, nursing students, and other healthcare professionals to never feel this way, to never feel like they have to rely on one sole income, to never feel like they are able to just sit in the burnout and suffer because that's all they know how to do. So I developed a nursing mentorship program. I developed a mentoring program in general to help people understand a brand and cultivate their design and help collaborate with their dreams because I believe that everybody is sitting on a dream that can make a huge impact in this world. It wasn't until the moment that I acted on everything that I have been teaching over the last 2 years on this podcast until I was able to say, man, this is my climb. I've been climbing this mountain forever and haven't been able to say anything. And that day that I sat there and I said, no more, my patients deserve better, my daughter deserves better, and I deserve better, was the day that I reached the top of the mountain and I looked back and I said, everything is going to be okay. Because I have my big vision in mind, I have my health and my happiness in mind, and I have a plan and a purpose, and my passion is my focus. So right now, I'm asking you, what mountain do you need to continue to climb to reach? And what big dream and vision do you need to go after regardless of the hesitation and obligation and responsibilities? Because at the end of the day, the people that you're sitting there saying you're responsible for are not even happy with who you really are because you are so miserable being around them because the things that you're doing aren't making you happy. Go open up the restaurant. Go start the business. Go become the mentor. Go speak to those people. Go start the podcast. Go start the business. Go do the things that are going to make you happy. Go do the things that are going to bring you joy and possibility and opportunity because you are enough. soul sister, my friends, my family, I need you to start dreaming. Let go of the limitation, let go of the responsibility. Disclaimer, within reason, I want you to be smart. I would never leave my job without a backup plan. I would never leave my job not knowing how I'm going to pay for Bianca and the roof over our head and clothes on our back and food for our stomachs. I want you to be smart. But the reason I was able to dream bigger is because 4 years ago I decided to make a decision, and I started health and happiness coaching when I was in the rock bottom of my life. I made a commitment to start for $160 a business that took off and has given me the opportunity to take 12 weeks of maternity leave, go down to part-time without any hesitation, and then to now be confident to know that I could put in a resignation in a place that just wasn't healthy and was super toxic and was not treating my patients or me the way that we deserve to be treated, and I could walk away and stand up and say, I'm dreaming bigger for the people that I love and I care about. So hear me say this. Dream big, dream bold, and know that I'm cheering you on. Your life matters. You are more than amazing, and you are more than enough. What's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of the Your Life Matters podcast. I'm so grateful that you're here. I just ask that you share this episode with somebody. I ask you to just share it and give it to somebody who could potentially need to hear this message. I really am on a mission to help hundreds of thousands of people to believe that their mess is their message and that their story really does matter and that above all, their life matters. I'm so grateful that you're here. I want you to share this episode. And then on top of that, if you could please leave a rating or a review or both. Let me know what speaks to you. Let me know what you need to hear. Let me know what you've connected with, because that's going to be the best way that I can make sure that I'm giving you guys exactly what you need. I love you guys with all my heart. I'm so grateful for you, and I want you to know the difference and the impact you guys make in my life. I love seeing your messages. I love seeing when you guys private message me or screenshot it and share it on Instagram or Facebook, because it lets me know that this podcast is doing exactly what it was meant to do, and it's to make sure that there's an impact being made and to help remind you and everyone else that your life matters.